This is Joey from the So Wizard Podcast, and you are listening to the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network.
Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what, I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people.
Right.
You want people to care. You want to strike emotions. And I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one too.
Quarter pounder with cheese and France, Mickey? What? Boy, ale with cheese. Yeah, I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice that my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success?
Hey everyone, this is Superhero Speak, and I'm your host Dave, reporting from a foxhole in Fallujah.
Oh, for crying out loud. This is John.
Hello? Where'd John go? I'm JD. I don't know what the hell's going on.
I don't know either. He was
there you go. See, they got me, Dave. Sorry.
He was talking about how great his new microphone is, and then he cut out.
Yeah.
I think the assassins in your neighborhood might have got him.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah. So this is John, and my main computer died. My server is gone. I need to buy a new one, and so I am here on my work laptop. So if I sound different, apparently it's because I have a better microphone on this one than I do in my regular setup.
You're the only guy who apologizes for sounding better.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I have an image.
Oh well, that's true. Yes, and the explosions you hear in my neighborhood, people are setting off fireworks. We're recording this on Memorial Day because, quarantine, we can't do anything except apparently you can try to kill yourself with fireworks.
You're right as an American, goddammit.
So
we reserve our right to blow our fingers off.
We're good at that as Americans.
Yes.
We blow the shit out of our fingers.
Apparently we are very good at that.
Every year.
And it's so funny because it had been quiet all day. And the sun isn't even completely down yet, but for some reason, just as I hit the call button, they decided to start setting off their fireworks.
Is Memorial Day fireworks a thing in Pennsylvania? Because it's not in Illinois.
No, it's...
it is here, yeah. They're in Pennsylvania. Well, I mean, around here, they set them off in the back 40.
A few years ago, more than a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, it was discovered there was a loophole where they could sell fireworks in Pennsylvania. And so now all the stores sell them at every holiday. And every idiot buys them and tries to set them off. And
I haven't bought any lately. Are they selling the real ones? Like the, like quarter sticks and all that?
And the mortars? Oh, yeah. We had a person used to live on the corner from us. They moved a while ago. They would set off mortars every holiday. It was just like, really? Which... I will also put this out there, some places are opening up, but there's still restrictions and quarantines and going on, and it still might be difficult to get help at a hospital, so you might not want to blow a finger off right now because it might take a couple days before they sew it back on.
That would be unfortunate.
So, JD, do you have any exciting news you'd like to share with the audience?
I got a couple things, actually. I'll go with the super exciting one first. We sold our house today.
Wow, that was quick.
30 hours.
Yeah, really?
30 hours.
Now, here's the thing. I hear that because everybody's working from home and companies are starting to say, hey, we'll let everybody work from home forever, that prices in the suburbs are going up and prices for real estate in the cities is starting to go down.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll see how long that letting people work from home forever stuff lasts, though.
Well, we do. Both my wife and I get to work from home, so we've been like this forever. So we actually put a contract down for a house ourselves on Friday, and it was a contingent offer, which means it doesn't go through unless you sell your house.
Right.
So we put our bid in for a house in the sticks on Friday, And then this morning, my best friend's my realtor, and he goes, "Hey, can you have your house ready by 8:30 in the morning?" I'm like,
wow.
I'm like, what sociopath wants to look at a house at 8:30 in the morning on Memorial Day? So we did it. We were up all night. We got a total of 3 hours of sleep, and we went to the
Christmas.
Kinda, except that was fun. We went to the forest preserve to have breakfast with the kid and the dogs, and it was insanely stressful. And then by noon, we had an offer on our house, and it was perfect.
It was what you were looking for too, offer-wise?
Yes, it was. We have a bigger house. We have a double the house for less price, but we had to move 2 counties away to do it.
See, they knew, though, the people who looked at it, they wanted to buy it because it was, oh my God, it's JD's house. He's a well-renowned author and one of the hosts of Superhero Speak. Oh my God, it's a famous person's house. We gotta buy it.
Yeah, right.
No, they had no idea. But they looked at our house, and it was actually pretty cool. It's we have a starter house, but we bought our starter house in 2007.
Yeah.
So the starter house has been the stuck-in house, and now the market covered enough to the point where we're good, man. It's a nice young family getting started, and it's awesome. Like it worked out for everybody. I'm super excited. So
we expect you to start doing the podcast not from your kid's racing car bed from now on.
He has a loft bed with superhero stuff on it. Come on, man. I'm on brand.
All right. That's good.
But no, it's awesome. I don't have to share the office with my wife anymore. So I get my own office in this new house.
You don't have to
so you're saving your marriage as well.
Yes, actually.
You don't have to record from a closet?
No, I never did that. I always did the basement. But I'm out of the basement now. I've been in the wife's office for the last couple months. And now I get my own office. And we got, what is it? Like 2/3 of an acre, a bunch of trees. Like we were leaving the suburbs, but it should be fun. I'm excited.
Nice.
Closer to where I coach. Second little bit of news. I have another podcast that I'm doing.
Another podcast? Wait a minute.
Another one. It's not mine. My younger.
2 timing.
3 timing, actually.
Yes.
Triple. So this one actually, my younger brother, you remember Dave, we had him, him and I did the Halloween review a couple years ago. He decided he wanted to do his own podcast, like about writing. He's trying to get his writing career started, but he's like super analytical about everything.
Uh-huh.
So he wanted to, so him and our cousin is, he's in the DGA, the Directors Guild of America. He's a really good second assistant director who's trying to become a producer. So we got this idea that we set a timer for an hour. And someone throws out, okay, like our first episode, we did one. All right, Easter Sunday, make a horror movie. Go. You have an hour to come up with a story based on a pitch. And we recorded 8 of them before officially launching. So I've been doing this spare time. I don't edit it. My brother does all the work. Kind of like this show. I just show up and talk for an hour. So, yeah, we officially. Right. So we launched actually this weekend, and so far so good. It's called the Story Builder Podcast, and It's been fun. It's been very different than the other ones I do, the wrestling one and this one. But it's I don't know. As a writer, it kind of challenges me to come up with some ideas, and it's interesting, kind of having a faux writer's room for an hour.
No, I think that's cool to have things that span your interests as well, but also never let it be said, or don't ever forget the good that comes out of sibling rivalry. Where. That's where this podcast partly came out of. My brother had one, and then I was like, oh, I want to do it.
I didn't know that, really.
Yeah. He had one for about 6 months, and that wasn't the main reason, but that was one of the things that made me actually decide to try to do it. So that's all well and good and exciting. Any new books coming out?
Yeah, I actually had to put pause. I'm supposed to have one coming out later this week, but it's not ready. So we're hitting the pause button on that one. Plus, with the move and all, it's been as productive as I'd like to be.
Yeah, this is where things get nuts for you for the next few weeks or so.
Well, I mean, we're just gonna move. We're gonna get a storage locker in the town we're moving, and we're just gonna move slowly. And then I'm gonna be homeless for about 2 weeks, so we'll take vacation when that happens up in the farm. So it'll be all right, man. I'm pretty excited.
Nice.
How about you, John? Anything new and interesting in your life?
You sure you want to follow me?
Sure.
I'm just saying. All right, look. First off, if I were any kind of business person, I would sell this story to JD, let him rip off a one-off book about it and make everybody pay for it.
What are you trying to say about ripoff?
No, that's not what I meant. Okay, so, and also disclaimer: I don't live in Arkansas. So my ex best friend, who accused me of something I didn't do and cheated on his wife and did all this wonderful stuff, and abandoned me 4 years ago, just as my divorce was happening, is now living with my ex.
Well, shit.
So
that's all I can. Like, that's all I need to say. I mean, I don't want to go into the rest of it because, it's just the situation alone kind of like.
Okay, so first off,
I'm a white collar worker. I don't have vehicles on my front lawn. Going to the bathroom doesn't require shoes and a flashlight. I don't understand why.
Okay, so first off, I have to say, hearing 4 years ago I wasn't your best friend, it hurts.
He was my best friend since high school.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, 2. Now, did this relationship start after the divorce, or is this a recent thing, or do you not have details?
I have very few details. All I know is that his soon-to-be ex-wife called me to tell me that to give me the heads up because they live like right around the corner from me.
If this was a romantic comedy, you guys would fall in love after this.
Right, exactly. I'm going to say the next step is for you now to date her.
Yeah, no, just like absolutely not. Like just no. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. So yeah, I just that's been like much of my weekend. Now, like I just found that out today, so it was a nice explanation point to my Labor Day Veterans Day weekend.
Memorial Day, whatever. Veterans, whatever. I don't. Whatever we're. Veterans Day is for the living. Memorial Day is for those who died.
Is it bad that I feel guilty now for having a good weekend?
No, not at all. No, I am so glad that you sold your house because I mean, you only put that post on Facebook a couple of hours ago. Does anybody want to buy my house? Well, apparently somebody did.
30 hours, man. 30 hours.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. We can go back to the geek stuff now. I'm sure people are like. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, let's see. I mean, nothing really new with me. I just so I guess, since we talked about your crazy love life, I've kind of made a decision that I'm not sure. I think I want to start dating again.
You just heard what I said, right?
Well, hold on. Exactly. First I was going to get to, I'm not sure after hearing your stories. But it's like, I'm kind of at that point where I just kind of want to go out and have fun and not worry about a relationship or anything like that. And, of course, with everything going on, you can't even go out with people. So it doesn't really matter. But, so like, I need to vent a little bit. Like, what is the deal with these dating apps? Like, they're so annoying.
They're horrible. They are. I mean, like, it would be nice. Like, I've tried a few, getting back onto the geek track. I've tried a few dating apps there are dating apps for comic books and for geeks and stuff, but they're all so small that they use they're basically traps for men. They don't really have a whole lot of women, if any at all. So you got to go with the main apps, and the main apps suck.
Well, all I know is like I don't understand how anyone gets together in today's world. Of course I did what everyone else does. I downloaded Tinder, and like you'll match with someone, you message them like, "Hey, how you doing?" and then they never message you back. Like what's the deal with that?
Isn't Tinder more like a hookup than a date?
You wouldn't believe how many people are just relying on Tinder now instead of like Match.com or POF or any of those.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what you're coming to Superhero Speak for. It's advice on dating app use.
And talking the housing market. We're way off brand tonight.
Oh boy,
okay.
yeah.
But continue.
Okay, and then the other one is it's the finale, guys, or something.
The apocalypse, one or the other.
And then, like, I think the other one I joined was Match, And it's like, yeah, it's the same deal. Like, they'll reply back, we'll talk a little bit back and forth, and then they just stop replying, and it's like, I don't understand the deal, like,
because
I think it's
most people do not have common decency to at least say, I'm not interested. It's part of the anonymity of the internet where they feel people, you saw the meme going around on Facebook, right? The one about the shopping cart. People, you can tell a good person because even though there's no laws that tell them they have to do it, there's no consequences. They will return the shopping cart. The good people will. It's the same thing on dating apps. Because of the anonymity, people feel that they can just drop people or ghost them or say whatever they want and get away with it because you won't be able to find them. And those are the ones you don't want anyway. But there's a lot of people like that.
I think part of the problem, in all honesty, is that, you know, in a regular dating situation, you go to a bar, you find someone and you talk to them and you hit it off and maybe you go out and get a bite to eat or something. Whereas, and then there's like 3 or 4 other guys maybe trying to hit on that girl at the same time. Where now on the internet, you're like in a bar with your entire city. So there's 100 guys that are all matching with this girl, and it's like, oh, okay. I matched with 100 guys, and I was talking to him, but this one's cuter, you know, or this one makes more money, or.
And again, those are the ones you don't want. But on the other side of it, well, yeah, but you got to remember, like, it goes both ways. Like, you're going to see the worst of humanity in the women that you match with, and which should make it easy for you to filter out which ones are the ones that you really want to talk to. But on the other side, they're seeing the worst of humanity of the men. And let me tell you, their side, much worse. Like, my friend Nicole could tell you, whole bunches much worse. So
I don't know. It's just, I don't get it. This new world scares me, people. You know, and I know it's only guys who probably listen to this show, so if any of you have advice, let me know.
The advice is probably, have you considered celibacy?
So, you know, speaking of advice, best place to get it, of course, is on social media.
That's not true at all. What did you just say? Go ahead.
So we'll go into some social media madness. We had talked about Robert Pattinson not bulking up to play the Batman.
To quote one great American icon from a certain little movie called Blade, wussy.
Kevin Glennon said, I hate when they hire actors who aren't into comics to play comic book characters.
I don't know. That's actors. Actors act.
Yeah.
That's true.
But a good actor would at least consider the material they're being given.
So, I mean, and I don't think that has anything to do with it, because again, I don't think Christian Bale was into comic books before he played Batman. And as we said before, like, he didn't necessarily bulk up, but he did get into shape, put some muscle on. So there was another string where, JD, you had replied to someone, but the tweet you replied to is gone.
I broke him. I forget what she said. Oh, I forget. What did I say?
The account's gone, and it's like,
whoa.
And your response was, that's on Warner, not DC.
Oh. Because she's like, it was a woman. She said, I'm trying to remember this. It was something to the effect of, like, I don't like, DC screwed up again.
Okay.
She's like, DC makes another huge mistake. And I said, that's on Warner, not DC.
Right.
Because Jim Lee's not making casting calls.
Which is the problem. Which is part of the problem. The comic book people aren't in charge of this stuff on the DC side.
And then we had Hemingway, who's at Hemingway62, the number 6. I don't know if that's an accurate description, but I'm kind of scared.
Ernest Hemingway is from Oak Park, Illinois. Clearly this isn't him, but it just made me think of it. Continue.
He talks crap in interviews. He's always done that. He doesn't like letting people in, so he just riffs. I can't believe so many people took that seriously. And then you replied with that you posed an interesting theory. I think it has legs.
Just trying to get people to listen to the show.
And I replied that I think he's just a terrible choice for Batman. And you said you would still wait to see the trailer to pass judgment. And Hemingway replied with a GIF. I can't remember what the Schitt's Creek, I think is the name of the show. And it's the mother rolling her eyes. And it's like, okay. Obviously Hemingway is it's a woman. So obviously Hemingway is a fangirl for the one-time vampire, which is fine. But it's not so much, and again, if she had listened to the episode, I think what you said made a lot of sense.
I stand by it. I think he doesn't want to juice.
And
it's also possible she's right. He's just talking shit. It's right. It's possible. I don't know.
Well, it depends. Like, now we'll never know, because if there's as much backlash as this, maybe the execs might tell him, hey, like, here's your new personal trainer. And we've taken the keys to your refrigerator. The trainer is in charge of everything.
That's possible, by the way, because these guys are on the contract.
Exactly, yeah.
But I still maintain, I'm still going with the juice. I don't think he wants the juice.
Yeah, but even if he didn't want juice, you could still do a lot with a personal trainer. I mean,
oh, for sure.
Right, exactly. And again, it's not even so much. It's just a weird defense, like, oh, he just riffs, and it's like, yeah, but he's been an actor long enough. He's followed superhero. He's at least followed some of the actors that have been in superhero movies and saw the backlash for some of the comics that they have made when they're playing these characters. He knew, like if he was just riffing, he knew there was gonna be a backlash, you know. And it's just like it's a weird defense. It's like, you know, he could have just said, "No, I don't want to, you know, get too big." That's all I had to say. But to sit there and say, you know, like he's objecting to the idea is how the interview came off. It's like, nah. All right. So the other thing was we had talked about, of course, the Arrowverse won't return until 2021, and AJ at I am not shouting
yet
said he was relieved, and Nunya Business, it's at business_Nunya, said continual disappointment in the direction of Canadian produced television. It's cheaper to film in Canada, but its shows are brightly painted turds, with a gif from South Park saying blame Canada.
The problem is we get people who don't really like express what they truly feel when they respond to our social media posts. Like, there's way too much tap dancing.
I know. They're trying to be so nice.
Very diplomatic.
Yes.
Diplomatic, very
subtle.
Yes, I get it. It's tough. It's very tough for them.
One might even say obtuse.
They might. We wouldn't, but they might. So thank you for everyone who participated. And if you want to know more about social media madness,
I'm JD.
Here's D Squared to tell you more.
Enjoying the show? Want to be part of social media madness? Make sure you are following superheroespeak.com, where you can find all of the show's social media links at the top of the page. While you're there, you can check out old episodes of the podcast as well as some other great content. Check the site often, because we are posting some great comic reviews as well as comic book and movie news content every day. Make sure and follow us on Twitter at SuperheroSpeak. And while you're there, check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. You can follow them at @stars_geek. The Geek World All-Star Podcast Network include great programs such as the Pop Prison Power Podcast, Cult 45, So Wizard, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain Podcast, and of course, Superhero Speak. Search for #GWAllStars. You will not be disappointed. Now it's back to Dave and the boys on Superhero Speak.
All right, thank you for that, D Squared. Make sure you check out the D Squared podcast, where they gave us something that we're going to talk about later. And
crabs.
On that note, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
All right, we're back. We have some news. and there really is not a whole lot to talk about this week.
It's almost like there's something going on in the world that's slowing things down.
Yeah, but we've had more news than this recently.
Well, yeah, but we need another Robert Patterson out there stirring up trouble.
Well, let's start with the big one. Of course, JD brought this to my attention last week, and that is, of course, it has been confirmed. This is not a rumor. There will be a Snyder cut of Justice League being released to HBO Max.
It's real. It's real. You remember that scene? Remember the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where Indiana Jones shouts to Mary and goes, "Don't look at it."
Yes,
and Nazis are like, "It's beautiful." And all start, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
I would have gone Scanners on this, but okay.
I've never seen Scanners. I have to rectify.
Well, you've seen the one clip of the guy.
Yeah, everyone's seen the head going. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought we agreed that there probably wasn't enough material for a Snyder cut because.
Okay, hold on.
We're not letting Dave have a word in edgewise here. Go ahead, sir.
I'm sorry.
I gave a related article, so that answers what you were just about to say.
Well, I have to ask the questions so that you can answer them, so we can have a discourse.
Go ahead, ask your question then.
Dave, why would they have do this, and how could they do this?
Well, they're like, right, we did make a point that, like, the film was quote-unquote unfinished. There probably wasn't enough footage. We'd probably get something like the Donner cut of Superman 2, where there's, like, unfinished scenes.
The Franken movie.
The Franken movie, right. But then, it was also pointed out, like, Zack Snyder shared on in social media an image of Ryan Lee, who played Ryan Choi in the movie. So there was a whole thing with him that was cut out. So that's a way of saying there's a whole bunch of other footage that we know exists that was cut from this movie. So maybe there is something there.
I think that there's enough. Probably they're going to go back, and I hadn't considered this before. I said Warner's never going to release a movie at the theaters or a DVD. I had not considered the possibility that HBO needs to generate more people toward this app, and actually, it's genius.
Yeah,
this is
HBO Max.
Like Netflix. Yeah, it's like a Netflix show. Because I guarantee they're not going to spend what they would have spent, but they could spend enough to make it look presentable for your TV.
Do you go back and film and get people to film stuff?
No, I bet you just cobble it together. I no, especially not now because of where we are with things, and people like continuity-wise stuff's not going to match, right? People look different. But I think what you do is you take enough. What they're going to do is they're going to take enough of the Whedon movie and enough of the Snyder thing to parcel together a movie. So it will be like the Donner, but it'll be I think it's 68% or 70%. Directed by Snyder, so you'll get the Snyder cut, quote unquote. Like, it's a great idea,
right? And to put this into context, HBO Max is going live on May 27th, so they're releasing this information in order to drive up pre-orders for HBO Max.
Right, because as we've seen, like that first weekend is critical for launching these streaming apps, and I think this is really smart. Is there's a market for this, but it is a small market. But a small market can exist very, very well with these and be very, very profitable on these smaller platforms, these streaming apps.
Yeah. As long as you're not Quibi. If you're Quibi, you die really quickly.
Yeah, but they screwed up. They're making people pay a la carte for short content. Like they're making people pay for TikToks basically. That's a terrible business model.
Well, that and because of their contract model, it seems like it was made to lose so that they could sell all of the IP later on.
I believe this is the producers.
Yeah. I mean, there are a couple of videos about it on YouTube from some of the guys that I follow, and it doesn't seem like it's another what do you call it, rumor or something. It seems like it was literally made to die. I mean, how can you release a streaming app during a pandemic and still lose? So anyway, yeah, HBO Max, they're driving up for HBO Max, and they're going to hit us with this Snyder cut that's not completely a Snyder cut. And
that's fine.
Is
Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
Well, no, I was going to say, is it enough to make you want to get HBO Max?
It's going to be enough to make the people that spend all their time hashtag and release a Snyder Cut get it for at least a month. And that's the thing with, like, it's the gym membership mentality is you buy it, even if you forget about it, that $10 or whatever goes out of your quad card and you don't think about it.
Yeah. Well, you don't even really forget about it. It's like every once in a while you go back to it and like, oh yeah, I've got the HBO Max thing. I could, maybe there's a movie on there I want to see. And, when you think about getting rid of it, it's like, well, I did see that movie that one time and, I might want to watch it later. Unlike DC Universe, which I am going to drop because my God, do they have so little on there now?
But that's what I'm saying. That's the example of what not to do is you have to beef these. And that was the big critique on DC Universe right away is there just wasn't enough stuff, right? So HBO had out big things.
Yeah. Just as an aside, I just realized that on my shelf downstairs, all the Blu-rays and 4Ks of all of the DC movies, animated and such, I have more there than they have on the freaking streaming app.
That's a problem. That's why it's going to die and it's going to get folded into the HBO Max, which is perfect. I think it's a great gimmick to get those fans who want to see it, for whatever reason into it. Now, be that as it may, do you guys have any urge to watch that film?
No, you know what? Only if I don't have to pay for it, and only as a curiosity. Like it's like wanting to watch the Donner Cut or was it Romero or the Fantastic Four? Why am I forgetting?
Not Romero. Corman.
Yeah, Corman. The Corman Fantastic Four. It's just like it's one of those things where really I've heard about this. I've got to see what it. The only thing that can make it better is if they did an MST3K treatment on it.
I would watch that.
I'd watch the hell out of that.
I don't know. The Snyder Cut is one of those things where, like, when my brother goes and buys it on DVD or Blu-ray, and goes, hey, you want to come over and watch this? Like, yeah, that's when I'll go see it.
But that's like the thing is, if you ever hang out with your brother, you can watch it there. I'm sure that my cousin Dan will probably get it and he'll let me watch it with him for a night or something like that. Or, I don't really. I'm more intrigued by the potential of this Green Lantern TV show that HBO Max has in development. But I'm morbidly curious enough to watch it. Like, I didn't hate Justice League movie, but I hated the Snyder stuff. But, like, I don't know, that train wreck, I kind of want to look at the train wreck.
Yeah.
Right, like, that's my thing. It's like, the Snyder stuff in Justice League wasn't good. Why would I want to watch an entire movie of it?
Wait, do you think when they put this together, they're going to like lower they're going to dim all of the scenes in the movie like another few shades?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's like J.J. Abrams and lens flares. It's like, that like most of the movie, you're not even going to be told what's happening because he makes it so dark and gritty.
Yeah, but it's your TV, so you can crank the brightness,
Yeah.
The only thing I'm curious about is there's a rumor that Green Lantern was originally supposed to be in the movie.
I'm sure they had something, yeah. I'm sure they did something. I mean, like, they have Ryan Choi. Like, they're building no characters. They're just throwing shit at you. So, like, it's not like any of this stuff is going to be good. There's no room for it to be good. They're just going to throw a bunch of fan service at you.
Yeah, that's true.
But like I said, I'm curious enough where I kind of want to see how bad it is.
True.
We should do a review.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I was getting HBO Max anyway, but
all right, we'll figure out how to do that. All right, so speaking of train wrecks and DC problems, so Ruby Rose has quit Batwoman.
This sucks, but you know what? I think we talked about this, and I swear I mentioned back then that I wondered how she was going to deal with it when she comes from the movies. Because historically, actors have a problem moving from making movies to the grueling pace of these TV shows.
So from my understanding, like, and there's a lot coming out about this now. It was a mixture of things. One being, she thought it was too much work, which I thought was weird because, I mean, wasn't he on wasn't she on another show, Orange is the New Black?
Yeah, but that's
different.
It's a different make and model. But also remember that they extended the first season halfway through it.
Also, didn't she get hurt?
I was about to say, that was the other thing they talked about. She got hurt, so she hadn't been doing as much stunt work after she got hurt. So yeah, there's a laundry list of reasons. So yeah, no, apparently they're recasting it.
I don't know how they're going to do that. If this has happened during the Crisis on Infinite Earths, it would be possible. Maybe they'll tie it in with that somehow, but
it's TV. They'll just pretend it was her all the time, you know?
Exactly.
Well, they may pull a Doctor Who. It's like she's regenerating or something.
Nah. It'll be like when Will Smith got the new mom on the new aunt on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You know, and just like, oh, and we pretend like it's been that way the whole time.
Well, I mean, you look at it this way, since they aren't restarting till 2021 anyway, they've got time to find a replacement.
Nothing but time.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting because I will say that she was a good cast for that role.
Yeah.
She fit the athleticism and grit of the character, but we'll see. You know,
I'm sure the actual injury combined with the social media stuff and probably the long, grueling days of having to be up in harnesses all the time when you're not really a stunt person can be enough to make one go, is this really worth it?
Oh, yeah. She'll make a movie with a giant shark, but...
Yeah, but that's like, what are you really doing in that? Like, there's way more CG in that than there is in TV.
Yeah, I know. It's just,
look at the poor girl, I can't think of her name, plays Supergirl.
Oh, Benoist, Melissa Benoist.
Yeah, Benoist. Like, she's in a harness every week to fly, you know?
Yeah.
But just because she does it doesn't mean it's for you. She also wasn't getting... But she, to be fair, she took some social media abuse, too, when that show first started. But, like, some people just decide, you know what? This isn't for me. I'm not enjoying it. And if you don't like it, like, you can take a job. Like, we've all had it. We've all taken a job, and you start working it, and you're like, yeah, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's so many people out there that are rage tweeting at these actresses and actors for no reason. It's like...
So, you guys, I'm a big pro wrestling guy. Just this past weekend, there was a girl, a Johnny pro wrestling girl by the name of Hannah Kimura, who was also in some reality TV stuff, and something happened. I didn't watch the show. I don't remember the name of the show she was on, where she took a ton of abuse on Twitter, just a ton, and she wound up killing herself. So...
Oh, I think I saw something about that.
It's really bad. So it's like, you know what? I mean, there's no reason to just be in... And we've all said snarky things on Twitter, but that's one thing, and just, like, hounding people. Like, it's evil. It's vile.
No, anybody that does that is trash.
Right.
It's like trash.
It's like, if that's the best thing you have to do is just ream someone, like, and tagging them, and like, why would you have social media if you're famous? Like,
well, it's because they're angry and they want to direct that at somebody, and it doesn't matter who to them.
Yeah, you're right. It's just
it's
terrible.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Because there are definitely plenty of actors and actresses that don't have social media. And I think one of the things people don't understand, and I've heard this before, people who go into performing arts suffer from what do they call it, a locus of identity. They only value themselves as others value them.
Oh yeah.
So when they see all this hate and vile on social media at them, that lowers their self-value. And, like, I don't know, I think one of the biggest things is that people need to just, but it's hard, and it's very addictive, social media, but people need to just turn it off.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially now, when there's not much for us to do. You know?
Complain.
Yeah.
About Ruby Rose leaving.
Well, I mean, we talk about this stuff, but I mean, it's something that we're not going to tag her and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like...
Well, I'm just sad to see her leave. Sorry, go ahead, JD.
No, I had nothing. I mean, like, I just think it's messed up that... I get it. Like I said, it might not... You take a job, the job doesn't wind up being what you wanted it to be, and when the negatives outweigh the positives, time to go.
True. I mean, and it's, it's worse, I think, for the fans, the people that really liked her in the role. But how many times has someone been replaced? I mean, look at Rhodey from Iron Man, And
well, that was just hubris. That was just like he wanted more money and.
No. What I'm saying is like people get upset, like, oh my god, the actor I liked left this role. How am I going to go on? And then sometimes you get an actor.
A veteran actor, yeah, somebody who works it, who likes it.
Like Mark Ruffalo over
Edward Norton, yeah.
Edward Norton, yeah.
Yeah, but I think Ruby Rose liked this. I mean, she came through in this, you know. So
But just because you do your job well doesn't mean you like going to work.
Well, yeah. I know. The thing is, like, when they recast it, I just hope they can find somebody as good that brings as much to the table as she. You know.
True.
I'm willing to suspend my disbelief and just have a new actress walk in on the first episode of the next season. But they gotta hit the ground running at this point.
Well. Now that Ruby's done with television, maybe she wants to go back to movies. She could probably go work for Sony because they're trying to, they're working on a new movie. They're gonna give us a spin-off, another Spider-Man spin-off, featuring Jackpot.
Who the hell is Jackpot?
So when Spider-Man had their brand new day, run, no, it's fine. It wasn't very good. In 2008, they created a character named Jackpot who looks exactly like Mary Jane and who's later revealed not to be Mary Jane. But we're to assume that Peter Parker is so stupid that he doesn't know what his ex-wife / ex-girl, live-in girlfriend person that he's been with for the majority of his life, that he doesn't recognize her behind a domino mask.
Yeah.
2008, you say? Was this the reason for the financial downturn?
No, yeah, it could have been. Very well could have been. It was, there's some, I like Dan Slott stuff. This is not a Dan Slott creation. This is actually a creation of Mark Guggenheim, who they hired to, write this. And she doesn't really do a whole lot. Like, they bring her back, like, and then you find out who she was, and then she's kind of done. Like, this wasn't really a character that had, like, even an extended history.
No major impact on the character. No major impact. Here's the thing. If it had turned out to be Mary Jane, it would have been a huge impact to the Spider-Man universe.
It would have been 1,000 times more interesting.
Exactly.
Which they eventually did anyway. So giving her super abilities and stuff like that. Like, the second you learn that Jackpot isn't Mary Jane, it's over.
Right.
So are we agreed that Sony puts their movies together, their super movies together, by using a dartboard? Because I can't imagine how they came up with this character, given what you're telling me.
Now, here's what I find interesting, and this is part of the reason I brought this up. And it's a rights thing, in the fact that, like, okay, when Sony got the rights and they got all the characters within the Spider-Man universe, but that was 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
Something like that.
And this character didn't get created till 2007, 2008.
So how did they get rights to it?
Exactly.
Because she's part of the Spider-Man umbrella. So any character, and Sony has those rights basically in perpetuity. So
any new Spider-Man related character that's created.
Correct.
Wow.
Anything that's under the Spider-Man umbrella goes to them. And I don't know, unless Guggenheim came in and wowed them with a pitch. I don't know. I mean, like, on the one hand, there's a ton of blank slate because, like, she has no history, really. On the other hand, you ain't going to sell a single ticket based on someone going, oh, Jackpot.
Right. That's why it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense.
None. The whole gimmick is it Mary Jane? No? Oh, okay, I'm done.
I mean, they are mining the bottom level of that, right?
There's way lower. We're talking
lower than.
It was way lower than Spider-Man. They're not doing a facade story, you know? Like, that's deep cuts for my Spider-Man friends out there. Like, there's tons of crappy Spider-Man stories.
They're not bringing in Big Wheel as the enemy.
They're just the Hypno Hustler. Like, there's a lot of bad stuff from the 90s, you know?
Rocket Racer.
Rocket Racer is one of them. Yes. I mean, there's a ton of crappy Razorback, ton of crappy Spider-Man. Tons.
Yes.
But there's also a lot of really good ones. So, and then even like the associated heroes, like I would much rather watch a Puma movie than a Jackpot movie. Like Silver Sable's right there. They've been talking about that. Like there's a character with Silver Sable. There's a character with Black Cat. Although I think it works better with Spider-Man. Like they just got to keep these Spider-Man things rolling, and they know they can't do it without Marvel, but they made it kind of work with Venom. So they got to keep trying.
Yeah.
Despite all evidence to the contrary.
Until we are so sick of it, we stop going to those movies.
I mean, that's kind of what they do. I don't know, man. It's a bad idea. Like this is not the character to do that with.
Well, and again, unless Guggenheim went into Sony with an incredible pitch,
which might have happened.
And let's put it this way: it could work if it was completely if the movie itself was completely unrelated to anything with Spider-Man and the extended universe. Just try to do an interesting Jackpot movie, you know.
But again, it doesn't work, and we really don't have a Mary. I mean, like, I like oh my god, I blanked on her name. The girl who plays Michelle, the Michelle MJ in the Tom Holland movies. What's her name?
Oh, geez.
Zendaya.
Yeah, she's really good. I really like her, but I'm not 100% convinced that that's Mary Jane because her name is not Mary Jane. So unless it's Zendaya playing Jackpot, what's the hook?
Yeah,
because you've got no.
That's actually not a bad idea.
That's the only way it works, in my opinion. Because then you can actually sell tickets because she's a name, she's a star. So, but if it's not her, but I mean, this whole thing is flawed. Like, we don't have a Mary Jane. Really, you don't have, like, is that Mary? Like, it's none of it works. I mean, like, you have to completely reboot the character. And at that point, who cares? Well, no, who cares anyway? But I mean, like, what is Jackpot? Like, there's no emotional investment. There's nothing accrued. There's no accrued interest in that character. I can't even call it a property. No property there. Character.
Yeah. I think we need a Jackpot, Silver Sable, Puma team up against Big Wheel. That's my.
Oh, hey CB, if you're listening, I can write that.
Hey, just to interject here, you know who did pick a good character to make a show about? I hate to say it, DC did an actually good job with Stargirl. The first episode's out. The second episode, I think, is out.
That does not surprise me because of Jeff Johns'
I was going to say
emotional investment in that character.
Everyone keeps talking about how good Stargirl is, but the problem is that that's a show.
It's on DC.
That's the show that was actually made for the DC app, and then they ended up putting it on CW, and Jeff Johns was heavily involved with making that. It's not a Berlanti.
Right.
Fact,
which is why it's probably good.
Although
the universe is a little bit off because they're saying that the Justice Society of America was only 10 years ago where it should be like in the 40s or something. But
yeah, the JSA doesn't work unless they're old. But I mean, the further we get from World War II, the less sense it makes.
Yeah. But still, like even only 10 years in the past is not like
2010.
I know this is like, it's a little bit of an interesting, like I'm trying to figure out how this would fit in with, say, like the multiverse that they've got going, like, where things went awry, but, or, where the new heroes start coming up. But the first episode was emotional. The characterizations were great. The actors were great. The woman they have playing Stargirl is awesome, and they did a really good job with this.
And isn't there a couple like fairly big names in the show?
I think you're right.
Isn't her father like a fairly big name? Yeah, that's it, Luke Wilson.
Yeah, and he's doing a good job. It's the show's a little bit campy, but it also is got that edge to it. Like, how Buffy the Vampire Slayer was, where it'd be like, they'd be cracking jokes at one point, and you'd be rolling your eyes going, oh, this is a sitcom, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly everybody's getting their throats ripped out. That's kind of like this.
So, and I get why they moved this to CW after the DC Universe implosion, because this probably wouldn't fit on HBO Max.
Right.
How so?
This seems to be, it's a show about a teen girl, or like a late teen girl. Like, it fits better in the CW platform than it would on HBO
yeah,
Max.
true.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
Like,
and they got the whole school girl clique thing going. So yeah, perfect.
It's perfect fit for them. Like, it probably should have been there to begin with.
Well, I will say this. My 18-year-old son gave the best review of it. He was like, it was really good. It was kind of dark for a CW show. And it really didn't. Exactly. And he goes, and it really didn't have the teenage hijinks in it that they normally have.
What are you talking about? Brett Bassinger is like, I mean, she's kind of, she's, I think she's legal. She's kind of hot.
He's saying there wasn't as much of the, like, teenage angsty stuff, which is funny because now you're dealing with a character who is a teenager as opposed to all these superheroes who are supposed to be adults.
But that's fine, because, like, even the CW shows go too much with the angst.
That's what he's saying. He's saying that made it better.
Yeah, that's what they are, though. Like, the whole CW platform has always been about that soapiness. So the angst is kind of what the angst is what the network really thinks it is. So, but I'm with you. I kind of want to watch this show, to be honest with you. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you should. It'd be good. We could do a review on that too. I mean, we got plenty of time. There's nothing else going on, so I think a review of that and the Snyder cut would be helpful to fill.
What would be fun? You guys familiar with a watch along?
Yep.
You mean like doing a commentary track?
Yeah, well, we watch it together, and you encourage the audience to watch it with you. There's a lot of wrestling podcasts that do this. Where you hit play and we're all watching it on the Skype and reacting to it as we watch it. That might be the best way to do the Snyder Cut.
It might be. I think you're right.
I like that idea.
We'll do the Snyder Cut like that, but I think we should all watch Stargirl and talk about that next week.
I agree. I think it's a great idea. Let's watch Stargirl.
All right. And our last little piece of quote-unquote news is a rumor. JD already gave his opinion on this article on social media, but the D Squared podcast had shared this and talked about it. This was on what website? The Cultured Nerd?
The Cultured Nerd.
.org. So they couldn't even get to culturednerd.com. Interesting. Exclusive! AT&T and Warner Media want Ben Affleck back as Batman.
This is the best. Sources close to TCN, like they have branding, have informed us that AT&T and Warner wants Ben Affleck to return as Batman, and to resume work to adapt his original script, The Batman, that originally featured Batman versus Deathstroke. No word yet if the project is for theatrical release or HBO Max. So these dudes have no sources. They do not claim a source, and they are saying that Warner Brothers is so. Let's read between the lines. Warner Brothers is so mad because Robert Pattinson won't do a push-up that they're going to throw away the entire movie and go back to Ben Affleck for reasons.
Well, I mean, they even go on in the article to say, now with Matt Reeves, the Batman, in production, this doesn't mean they are stopping one and moving forward with another. This is DC, where the multiverse is very prevalent. From the comics and animated series movies, the CW, and the live-action movies. Hey, they kill off the multiverse in the movies. I mean, on the CW.
They did and they didn't. They replaced it with a new... Yeah, they replaced it with a new multiverse, but,
Well, they really haven't gone into that yet, but that's another story. So yeah, you're right. Obviously, this is they're trying to ride the coattails of the Snyder Cut news.
Oh yeah.
And say oh look, everyone loves Ben Affleck as Batman, and they want him back, and it's just no, because they would also have two movies called The Batman.
You got these Amazon banners all over this page. So, you got to get those clicks.
Hey,
pay that advertising.
unfounded rumors is our job.
No, actually, we're pretty good about that. We quash unfounded rumors, and the only thing we've been wrong about is this existence of a Snyder Cut, which didn't exist until HBO Max said, "Hey, we can manipulate nerds."
Yeah, that's about right.
Oh my god, that's perfect.
It is. Like I said, if this happens, I'll be surprised. But then again, if let's say that this Snyder Cut thing does get a lot of traction on the app, they'll be able to tell. They got their analytics. Maybe it does make sense to do this exclusively there.
Hey, JD.
Yes,
JD, if they're gonna do this, hey, they might even actually, I don't know, put out New Mutants at some point.
Believe that when I see it. I feel like Don Quixote wandering the desert. New Mutants is my dragon. I'm looking at windmills going this could be the New Mutants. Which of you is my Sancho Panza?
Albeit, I'm right there.
So on this episode of Superhero Speak, I referenced Don Quixote. We talked about dating apps, positives and negatives. I talked about the housing market. We are, if you can't tell, there ain't shit going on right now. I don't know what,
Wow. So anyway, what I was going to say is, not only, do I feel like this is a rumor that blew off of the Snyder Cut thing, there also is other rumors that I saw floating around today. One of them being, now that they're bringing back the Snyder Cut, maybe they'll finish off the Snyder trilogy.
Do you know how much money that? Okay, I'm not gonna say it's impossible now because this HBO Max does change things. Because in this post-COVID-19 world, we're in a very different environment than we were in a year ago. So I'm not saying impossible, but this ain't gonna spur numbers to go that kind of strategy.
And how could it?
I don't see.
Because they're not releasing it in the movies. They're not going to release a Blu-ray of it. What are they going to do?
It would cost a fortune to bring all these people back and to do all this stuff for a streaming show.
Right. And the streaming the streaming show's only one revenue stream. It's not like the normal revenue streams.
And it's not like Game of Thrones, which HBO built its HBO for the better part of a decade built its foundation on Game of Thrones, which proved itself in the first season. We didn't get a lot of crazy special effects and stuff in that first season. Right, they went hog wild second, third, fourth. They proved their worth. This is isolating half of your audience right away, right? Because half people who love comics aren't going to watch this thing because they hated the first Justice League. A lot aren't going to watch it because of the social implications we haven't touched. I don't think this is the time or place to touch that. So really, you're only catering to a small number of fans that really want this. How well could this do? To the point where you can, I'm okay with, I think it'll make some money for them and it's good. It'll get their subscriptions up. That's fine. But to make the whole thing and make it HBO Max exclusive, that sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Which means that they'll probably do it.
HBO's not stupid. I don't trust Warner, but I trust HBO. HBO doesn't throw bad money after good.
No, not.
But apparently they have enough. Apparently they have enough money and are thirsty enough for HBO Max to do well in its first week to spend the money on the Snyder Cut.
But we don't know what they're spending. We don't know. We don't know how much they're putting into it. It could have some crappy special effects. It could. The ones we saw weren't very good.
Right.
We don't know what they're really doing. I'm more interested in seeing the documentary on this eventually. That's where I'm curious.
Yeah.
Because there's a fascinating story behind this whole thing.
It sounds like the next project for you.
I don't do that. I'm out of documentaries. I'm retired. I write books now. No, there's a really good story here. And that being said, I don't see how they can make it financially viable to keep it going. Taking the scraps of a movie and threw it together. Because HBO, remember, supposedly the first Game of Thrones pilot sucks. It's unwatchable.
Yeah.
But they saw enough in it to go, you know what? Let's try this again. So, I don't know. Hang on 1 second. The dog's freaking out. I gotta go let her out.
But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's... John, totally...
I say when we watch it with an MST3K shadow stage in front of us. Like, I say we make fun of the damn thing. I mean, we shouldn't, we can't watch it silently.
No. I mean, that's part of the point, is we watch along and create our own commentary track about what we're watching.
This should be fun.
Yes. And we won't get sued at all.
No, we won't. I mean, if they can do, what's it called? The MST3K guys, they do something where you can actually overlay their tracks on movies.
Riff tracks.
So they can do, what's that?
Riff tracks.
Yeah, riff tracks. That's it. I was thinking of the one that they do live, the something disaster. I forget what it's called.
Oh yeah. I saw one of those.
Yeah, I did too. They're good.
They are good.
But yeah, so they could maybe we could do a riff tracks for this.
Oh, I'm excited by this. I get good ideas sometimes, not all the time. Jake, where do you live? Like, stuff's blowing up. I hear the cops. I think you're in Gotham City.
Well, that's the ambulance for the people that were. That's the ambulance for the people that blew up their hands doing the fireworks earlier.
As I've pointed out before, right around the corner from me that's a fire engine.
Oh, that's even better.
As I've pointed out before, I live around the corner from a hospital. There's an ambulance bay a block away from in one direction. There's a firehouse about 5 blocks away from me in a different direction. So, it's one of the busiest intersections in this area. So yeah, like, you hear sirens all the time. And
for some reason, you gotta be thinking of Tracy Chapman. You know, that Fast Car song. Just continue.
Oh, okay. I thought
Deep cut. No, that's all I had. I had a gag and I lost it. Slipped through my fingers.
It's not as good as your Don Quixote.
I'm only good. I shot my load. I'm done. Okay. I got no more.
JD shoots his load. All right.
No.
Do you have any recommendations for the listeners out there, John?
Well, yeah, Stargirl. I mean, there you go. That's my recommendation. Go see it. It's actually really good, and I can't wait to see how the rest of the season pans out. If it's as good as the first episode, we have a new hit. Which, because it's been on DC Universe, it'll probably be canceled after the first season. Like Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing's coming back to CW, though. They're bringing Swamp Thing back.
Is it really?
Yeah, we should have talked about that.
I completely forgot about that. Yes, that was announced a while ago.
Yeah, but I'll believe it when I see it.
And they announced, like they did a press release, like.
Yeah.
Well, I hope they do, because.
Was that show any good? I didn't watch it.
Yeah, it was really good. The first season was awesome. So, bringing it back, okay. If they have the same writers, they'll do well.
How about you, JD? Any recommendations?
Yes, as a matter of fact, the Story Builder podcast, which you can download on all major podcasting platforms. Me, my brother, who's making his first journey into being a writer, and our cousin, who member of the Directors Guild of America, sit down and we throw an idea out and we try to build a story. The third episode, they get mad at me because I didn't have an idea, even though I was supposed to bring one. And Matt goes, "What would you do as Superman?" So I got to create my own Superman movie. What I would do with it. That was fun.
See, now that's the one I have to listen to.
We'll talk. It's funny you should mention that. But yeah, I'm really proud of this new show. I mean, it's different than me talking about wrestling or talking about, geek stuff. So it's really me, like, as a writer, kind of trying to come up with ideas on the fly. And it's fun. I thought this experiment was going to be a disaster, so I wasn't really talking about it. But we've recorded 8 of them and are just starting to release them now. So yeah, it's been interesting. And my brother's a pretty good little audio editor, so they've been fun.
Cool. Well, I will recommend, as always, make sure you go to superheroespeak.com, where you can find the show every week and comic book reviews by our good friend D Square. And I don't know. I mean, last week we had the season finale of Flash and all the other CW shows. It felt like it was cut short. I don't know if anyone else felt that way. Like,
Yeah,
they kind of wrapped up some stuff really quickly, and they left more hanging at the end of the season than they normally do. So
they didn't have a choice, so like none of them did.
True. So hopefully the wait will be worth it, and we'll get a really great season out of them next year. But yeah, like that's all I've been doing. I guess I'll watch Stargirl, so I'll be ready for next week. And yeah, I recommend that you all do it too, so we can all talk about it together. So on that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for listening. Don't let your cape get caught in the door.